Actually, when I'm done, I'm giving him this video.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark. I'm from Arsenal. Great to be here in New York. We've got Arsene, Wojciech and Mikael with us today. If you could just put your hand up before you ask a question and say where you're from, then we can make sure things run smoothly. So far away. There's a microphone here.
Hi, Charlie Millman from BeachReport.com. Arsene, I'd like to ask you what steps, if any, you've taken to prevent similar injury problems to the ones you had last season, improving your medical staff or anything like that?
Look, we try to identify the problems we had and make sure we don't have the same problem, but it's never a guarantee for injuries. And we have some areas where we have to improve and we try to rectify that.
Arsene, this is hi, Peter Capiello from Newsday. This is for you, Arsene. What is it like to see Thierry Henry in the other team's colors? I know that you two have a good history together.
Well, I came here with only one striker because I had the hope that we play fast, maybe, and I haven't given up. Maybe we can play one half fast.
Mr. Wenger, Daniel Feuerstein from Soccer Newsday. My question is this, actually it's two questions. First, you've managed Thierry Henry, you've faced against him in a friendly at the Emirates. You had him on loan, of course he comes over to train during the MLS off-season, and now you're here in New York at the Red Bull Arena to face him and the club. Do you feel in your own way it's kind of like full circle?
Maybe, but I must say he practiced with us and I have two witnesses here last season when there was a break here, and he was the sharpest I've seen him. He was very, very sharp, and I thought that he came back in a very good shape because he worked very hard with us. And I see New York in the championship has some problems, but I thought when he came back that he was ready for a great season.
And my follow-up is this, because I saw the video. How's your New York accent?
Sorry?
Some of your players tried their New York accent. I was wondering, how's yours?
You speak about my how's your my New York accent.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I haven't seen many people in New York, and I couldn't confront my accent with New York people because you arrived late last night. And just a little conference with Morning Ritzy.
What do you make of the growth of football in America on the back of the World Cup, and also the news that Frank Lampard is coming to the MLS?
Look, since I'm a kid, you know, I remember the time where Pelé, Beckenbauer came here with New York Cosmos. And I thought at the time that football would take off here. It took a while, and now it looks to me that it's really booming from suddenly, without any rational explanation. And I think there's a lot of work to do here, but it's very exciting. I would love to be 30 years younger and witness that, because I think the next 20 years will be very exciting to develop the game here, and I hope it will become a force on world football here, because there's so many people love sport, the mental strength is there, the love for sport is here, so the next 20 years should be very interesting for football here.
My name is Phil Weston from Howler, and this is for anybody who wants to answer out of the three of you. Given that you've won the FA Cup this past May, and thank you for doing that, do you feel that there are higher expectations for next year, or do you feel that some of the pressure's off?
High expectations have always been there. We have not always fulfilled them, but we have ourselves high expectations from our own for our own performances. You know, we are very ambitious. Last season we were 128 days top of the league, and we were frustrated in the end because we couldn't win it. And we managed to. Overall, we were consistent, and we won the FA Cup. So next season, we want, of course, to win more. Having said that, in England, the level of competition is very high, and it's very difficult as well to predict how much better every other team will be. So it's just to make sure that we will be better and that we have a good preparation and then hopefully a good chance to win it.
Matthew Levine, soccerwire.com. This is for you. In the past, you've had training camps in places more quieter, such as like Austria, until recently. I guess how does going to Asia, now New York, help you compete with other Premier League teams?
Look, our training camps are sometimes in the modern game. The training camps are decided for commercial reasons as well, and for extent of the popularity of the club, because we have many fans in Asia. Of course, we traveled to Asia. We were never in the States, and I was very happy to come to New York, especially it's a city I love. And but for purely football reasons, the best for football is to stay, not to travel too much, because the time you waste, the jet lag is of course not ideal. In this camp, for example, for me it's just a game played, it's not a camp. But we go to Austria when we fly back next week. So this season is a post-World Cup year, but it's always very difficult, the time is very short. And don't forget that the World Cup final was on the 13th of July. The start of the championship, of the Premiership, is on the 16th of August. And compulsory, from the FIFA, you're obliged to give 4 weeks holiday to the players. So I don't know how all that works together, because it looks to me impossible. But the World Cup being very late, the post-year World Cup, the post-year of the World Cup is always very difficult for every big club, because the players have been away.
And just on an unrelated follow-up, can you talk a little bit about Gideon Zellerman's growth and what you might expect from him this season?
Of whom?
Gideon Zellerman.
Gideon is, I believe, is a very young talent, promising talent. He's one of his players, you know, has been educated here. I honestly think he has the talent to become a great player, but that will be decided in the next 2 or 3 years, because he has to show that there's a mental level required to be a top level competitor. Today it's too early for him to play for us, but I would say in 1 year you will know more about him. Maybe if it all goes well, in 6 months, but just now he's not completely ready to start in the Premier League. But he's with us, and he practices with us a lot, and we have high expectations for him.
Arsene, Franco Panizo, MLSsoccer.com. As was mentioned before, obviously you know Thierry very well, and obviously he's got great technical skills, high soccer, football, IQ. But for you, what makes him so special? What makes him such a special player?
Look, Thierry Henry had all the qualities you bring to when you're a football player. I made him start, he was 17 years old in Monaco, and now he's already played 17 years or 18 years at the top level. But it's the best thing, top level players may last at the top level of a competition. He had the physique, he had the technical qualities, he had a super physique, and he's a very bright guy. So that means they learn from the competition, and that's what he did. He analyzes very quickly, and managed to have a good combination between being focused and relaxed. That's the most important quality at the top level, is to be a high level of focus, but not be and be relaxed as well. That the right mixture, and he had that. He was calm and cool in front of the goal.
Just a quick follow-up on Gideon. Should fans expect him? Obviously, there's a lot of talk in the U.S. about whether he'll play for the U.S. Should fans expect to see him in the game on Saturday?
Yeah, he will play on Saturday. Look, Gideon has the qualities that I believe that are very important to develop in the States, because on the national team I've seen. He's a creative player, and he can create a spark, an opening with his pass. He has a vision through the lines, and if he manages to develop his physique and keep his qualities, he can be a very important player. Let's hope he will do it.
Arsene, Adam Bedian, MLS Insider. What is your single favorite individual Thierry Henry moment from his Arsenal career?
It's funny, but maybe when he came back and scored against Leeds in the Cup, because he was so happy. You know, when he was with us, he scored so many goals. It was just daily business. But when he came back and scored that goal, he was special because I think that in that moment he put himself in the heart of every Arsenal fan forever, because he finished just a job, the business.
Richie Clark here from Arsenal.com. A question for Wojciech. What's it like facing Thierry Henry? And what do you learn from facing him in training?
Look, I'm not going to lie, I got bullied a few times in training. He's probably the best finisher that I've ever trained against, so I'm hoping that he won't get too many chances to show that on Saturday. But yeah, he's scary, but I'm confident in it.
Arsene, given that you said your players have to have 4 weeks break after the World Cup, will your German players be fit, or will they be available for the start of the season?
I don't know. I've given them a good break because I have experience of players who have been far in the World Cup, you know, and you need the rest. And will they be ready? I think Mertesacker certainly, because he prepares individually very well. They have a little chance for the first game. I don't think they will be ready on the 16th of August. They come back beginning on the 11th of August.
That's all three?
All three.
Can I also ask, you said on Saturday you'd be speaking to Jack about his pictures in Las Vegas. Have you done that yet? And can you let us know what you said?
No, I don't want to talk about that in New York.
Hi, I'm Angela Moore with Reuters Television. Can you tell me, how does Alexis Sanchez fit into the future of Arsenal?
I hope well. Look, he can play through the middle on both flanks. He's a striker type, and I believe he gives us many options on the offensive front, and he has qualities that we lack a little bit, especially with Walcott being out, the runs off the ball behind the defenders, you know, and so it will give us a different option that we haven't got at the moment.
Tomasz Łoczerniuk, Polish Daily News. Pytanie do Wojciecha Szczesnego. Question for Wojciech Szczesny. If you guys allow me, I will ask a very short question in Polish. I don't get to ask questions in Polish in the United States, so and then I'll ask a question in English. It's going to be pretty much the same one. Panie Wojciechu, witamy. Polonia w Nowym Jorku, w New Jersey wita tutaj serdecznie Pana i cały zespół. Chciałem się zapytać, czy będzie szansa na jakieś takie, nie wiem, 2-3 minuty później, bo tutaj wiadomo, zadam tylko jedno pytanie, prawda? Tak, fajnie. My question in English is, you had a long layoff before the season. Do you feel rested? How do you feel overall? And the second part is, now that your fellow Pole is gone from the locker room, will you miss him, or will you speak Polish to Lukas Podolski?
Yeah, Podolski's Polish quite impressive, so I'll have a chance to speak to him about the World Cup and everything. And obviously I'll miss Lucas. He's a great teammate, and he challenged me every single day in training for the #1 spot. So I'll definitely miss that competition. And what was the first part of the question, sorry?
How do you feel after such a long layoff?
I mean, we're used to the holidays. Obviously, it's quite tough for the first couple of weeks in pre-season where we do a lot of running and a lot of gym. So it's tough for the legs, but we're used to that. So I'm sure we'll be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Arsene, this is for you. What impact has Thierry Henry left on the Arsenal franchise? What impact has Thierry Henry left on
What
Arsenal?
impact?
Yes.
He's a legend at the club, and he's one of the players who had, I think, when I put him first centre forward, he said to me, "Look, I cannot score goals, and for someone who cannot score goals, he's done quite well." And he's a legend of a club. When you ask every Arsenal fan who is the player of Arsenal, they will tell you Thierry Henry. He has his statue in front of the stadium. I think there's only 2 or 3 statues in front of the stadium, so that tells you what kind of impact he has made.
Arsene, obviously, Ivan Gazidis is in the front office of Arsenal. He came over to Arsenal from Major League Soccer's front office. Did you ask him any questions about the league before coming on this preseason tour, or at least this preseason
we speak
game?
about the stage because he's been here for work for the MLS, and I think he enjoyed his time here. And he's certainly very happy as well to come back here to New York. But he's very happy as well to see that what you call soccer here develops very well and very quickly now. And when you look at the audiences of in America of the World Cup, it's quite unbelievable how much enthusiasm is here for the game. And hopefully in the next World Cup you will surprise everybody, because we're not far this time.
Last question, Rich.
Question for Mikael Arteta. Obviously the club won the FA Cup last May, hugely important. Made some important signings as well. Do you believe the club's and the team is in its best shape since you've been at Arsenal?
That's what we're trying to do. I think what we achieved last year, after such a long time, it was only a platform. I think this club has to aim for much bigger things than what we've done the last few years, and that's ambition. I think the club is doing the business early to get well prepared from the start, and you can just tell from how we've been doing the stuff in the summer how ambitious the club is for the future.
Thanks everyone. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday.